index. That's all it is. You get the person's name, the basic things of their life, their birth and their death. But there's another way of going beneath it using sacred geometry, three-dimensional and hyper-dimensional space, that you can bring out from there every single tiny itty-bitty detail of even a bug walking across the stage will be completely written out there. And if you don't think that's possible, study sacred geometry and how information can be put in there. Because you can show how that an infinite amount of knowledge, as infinite as the entire universe and everything that's going on there, can be put into a little tiny space if you know what sacred geometry really is. And so, is it real? So I'm going to let you contemplate that one for a while, and I wish I had time to go into depth over this, which will be in the book, because there are things going on today that, when put in context of this, you really begin to understand. And this little thing about will you change this is occurring more often now. Because what happened in the Israelis got together and they did a thing which changed us and put us on a parallel reality. And that's why the bomb didn't happen. But there's got to be many other changes in the future. And it's not just the Israelis. Interesting enough, the second change took place with the Germans, which they had in their legends. And it was written down that they caused World War II, but they would stop World War III. And you don't know it, but we almost went into World War III over Kosovo. By April 8th, we were to be in Armageddon, and we're not there. At any rate, there are huge things going on, hidden underneath the scenes, and we will succeed. There's absolutely no doubt. We will succeed in this. But it is a tremendous thing that is going on. I would carefully watch this. And you know what? You can even buy the computer code and put it into your computer, and you can find out what's going to happen in your future or anyone else. It'll even convert it into English for you if you want. It's only like $35 or something like that. Just go on the internet, check out Bible code. You can buy it, put it in your thing, and it's a very simple code. And begin to check it. Find out, go a few days in the future and see if it isn't mapping exactly what's happening in your life in the future. You'll find it's true. You can do it. You don't have to sit there. You can empower yourself in this way. The angels talked about this thing in Kosovo. They came to me. I was in Germany, and they came to me before it happened, before it was in the newspaper or anything. And they told me that the workshop that I was about to give in Germany was going to be the most important workshop I've ever given in my life, ever. And I'd just given one in Switzerland. I was going, well, in my own mind, I'm going, well, what's so important about this one? And they then began to tell me that there was a war that was going to happen, and it would be announced in the world in 2 days, and that it would eventually end up in Armageddon on April 8th if we did not change it. And the sequence of events and all of that were incredible. They were absolutely amazing what happened in all of that, and how the Germans responded to it. They knew exactly what we were talking about. They knew, and they went into a meditation. It was about 100 people, and went into a meditation, and they just merged. They just melted and became deep. I mean, they knew that they were either going to change this, or they were going to end up in another situation almost identical to World War II that they caused. A situation almost the same. And it was very similar in many ways. It was approaching that. And they went in, and for 2 hours, I mean, they just went into the center of the earth, and they were gone. And when they came back out, we didn't know. I mean, I was basically holding my breath to see what would happen on April 8th. And then right after that, the war starts, and all the things began to emerge. But by that date of the 8th, everything began to happen. And there were things in this war that they told me that has not emerged, and I don't even know if I should say it. Oh yeah. I don't know if it's even good to put. It's so horrible. Yugoslavia was connected to Iraq, And this was a joint effort between them. And there was a plan, and the plan had been set up from the original war. Do you remember in the original war with Iraq, where we had them to rights and all of a sudden we just let them go? Why did we do that? Because Iraq had planted anthrax in Jerusalem, and they were going to basically commit suicide to destroy the entire city. And we had to back away. That's why we backed away. And so we went in there trying to get their biological, chemical, and nuclear facilities, knowing that we were trying to stop this. In the meantime, they've been spreading anthrax throughout the world. And they've got these little machines that are sitting in every major city in the United States that all he has to do is dial a telephone call on a cellular phone that releases this in the city. And with a single phone call, he can destroy the whole United States. But he's not doing it. Why? It's because of the Quran. And because of the Quran and the nature of the Muslim religion, he can't do this unless he gets the rest of the Muslim countries to declare jihad or holy war. Otherwise, he would be destroyed himself from his way of seeing this. He can't do it. And so the whole thing was to get the world so uptight about what was going on in Kosovo, and especially the Arab world, and it was getting that way in Turkey. They had, during that, just as it began, they had blown up 35 bombs, killing only Germans and Americans. And the whole thing was beginning, and they were waiting for the Muslims to just come together, get so uptight that they just called for jihad, and that was the plan. But it didn't happen. Instead, it wrapped around in a different way, and none of it occurred. And I believe it occurred because of what the Germans did. Only history will be able to tell this, but you could actually put your little computer program in there and find out what was changed and how. Because it's interesting enough, it is written, the changes are written. Time is spherical. We live in a polarized world where we see everything as black or white. It's actually into three. We see everything as good or bad or in the middle, as up and down or in the middle, hot or cold or warm, male and female or child, the sun and the moon and the earth. Everything is broken into three. Our time is past, present, and future. Our space is the XYZ axis. Everything that we do in all the ways we see is in a triangular motion. And it's just one way of perceiving the one reality. And we are about to emerge into another way of perceiving the reality, a lot simpler and easier to understand and perceive, a way that is actually beginning to take place right now. But we're going to have to let this unfold a little bit more today before we can see. So in this first hour and a half, we've talked about the first three phenomena: the UFOs, the crop circles, and the Bible code that is emerging at this time. All of these are indications that a higher level of consciousness is here. The fourth phenomena that we're going to talk about now is a very simple thing. It's just water. And, how can water be a phenomenon? I mean, we drink it every day. It's a very normal, everyday thing. So what? Well, first of all, in Genesis, again, in the very, very, very first sentence of the Bible, it talks about the Spirit of God moving across the face of the waters. What does that mean? And we live on a planet that is almost all water. So we're basically a water planet. Our bodies are made out of water. We're almost all water. Obviously, something's really important here. And what was this whole thing with Jesus, that we had baptism into water? What was that all about? What does it really mean? Well, geometrically, water is something called an icosahedron. This was the thoughts and beliefs of all the ancient ones from Egypt all the way up through Pythagoras and Plato and up to